John Hayward and Susan O'Regan farm near Te Awamutu in Waikato. John was invited to be a dairy environment leader in 2015. The operation has been recognised with a number of awards and was selected as one of 20 farms around the country to take part in MPI's Farm Systems Change project.
Judge Valley Dairies is a 245 hectare property consisting of 140 hectare dairy platform, and the remainder is either retired or regenerating into native or manuka, and a dry stock property which runs our heifers. So we're a total self-contained unit. It's not your typical flat dairy farm, it's rolling to steep, and that in itself can be challenging, controlling pasture and mitigating sediment loss and looking after the water on the property. I've been lucky enough to be invited to join Dairy Environment Leaders Forum. Every year we meet in Wellington for 3 days, and it gives us an opportunity to talk to like-minded people from around the country and also sit and listen to industry leaders or policy makers and take that information home and talk to our farmers around our community and try and help them. Sustainable for Judge Valley Dairies, we're young farmers. We make no bones about the fact that we're pretty aggressive and have a reasonable amount of debt. So sustainable, we have to be profitably sustainable and we have to be environmentally sustainable. I know I have a footprint. It would be stupid of me to say that I don't have a footprint. So for me and my responsibility as a landowner, and I think everybody's responsibility as a landowner, whether you live in town or whether you run a farm or whether you run an industry, you need to understand your footprint and try and mitigate it. And that's my responsibility with owning this property. When we came here, this property had a 16-a-side cow shed and it was milking 250 cows. So what we needed to do was look at where we wanted to go and what we were going to do. So we did a land use capability assessment with Waikato Regional Council that looked at all of our property paddock by paddock and identified land which wasn't suitable to graze cattle on. So we had to change what we were doing there. And also, when we look at our fertiliser side of things, from having P levels of around 60 and quarrying them back to 35 and still growing the same amount of feed, I think that's a benefit for us. So we've looked at our whole business and looked at lots of different things that we needed to change. And I guess we got recognised for that in 2016 when we won Balanced Farm Environment Award. We won 4 awards that night, and it's something that I'm really proud of. And on top of that, we were finalists in Dairy Business of the Year last year. So it shows that we can be environmentally sustainable and run a profitable business. We identified that one of our biggest risks is sediment loss and erosion. So we've taken land and planted 15 hectares of that into manuka. So it creates 5 benefits really. I mean, you get the opportunity to get some honey, but we mitigate sediment loss, erosion, pea loss, reduce our nitrogen footprint on that sort of land and creates biodiversity, for bird life and species that live around here. So that's one of the things we've done. We've created some big sediment dams, so they catch land that is washed away on sort of 80 hectares, so that's another thing. We've created 11 wetlands on the property. The wetlands are the kidneys of the earth, and New Zealand on a whole has drained most of their wetlands, so it's really important that if we've got them, we preserve them back to what they used to be. We cover 90 hectares with effluent, which is a wide area of our dairy platform. So that in itself is a natural dilution of effluent going onto our land. One of the jobs we have to do is replace our effluent pond, and we're currently working on that, and we'll have it done in the next 12 months. So these are the effluent pond options we have. After yesterday, I kind of was thinking whether we need to get a full covered bladder style to stop the methane releasing back into the atmosphere. Yeah. So we need to follow that.
John and I are shareholders and directors of Judge Valley Dairies. I have employment off farm and always have, initially as a lawyer and now as a district councillor. So we make governing decisions about the direction that we take together. They captured all their own biogas and it powered all their vehicles on their farm and everything. I remember going in and seeing the big bladders so going up and coming down.
Yeah.
On farm, we always had a philosophy that our farm gate's always open. We're more than happy to take anybody through our farm, and we do. We have groups come from international destinations come and see what we're doing, usually farming sort of groups, or lots of educational institutes bring their students here to try and understand what a sustainable dairy farm could look like. But I guess in a more local or regional sense, I think it's important to present good role modelling kind of behaviour. We've got a Facebook page and we try and straddle all things in it. I try and put current things that we're doing, cropping or calving or whatever, as much photographic kind of evidence, if you like, of what goes on farms. So that is designed to have people feel like they can have a feeling of what happens on a farm. We do a lot of stuff with MPI and other industry bodies, and so I like to try and keep people in the loop of what we're doing there too, to encourage people to start thinking about the topics that we deal with, opening those minds.
I guess for me is I think you need to look at your operation and work out what's going to make the biggest difference first. Come up with a plan, whether it's a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, I really don't care, as long as you've got a plan and you know where you're heading, and then just start ticking it off. Look at it as not a cost, but an asset. It's adding value to your business because the world is a changing place. Our industry is changing. So I think you need to see it as a positive rather than a negative. And it'll make us a better industry in the whole.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.